seconds and counting.
Hey, what's good, guys? It's Clutch here. Essam here, back in another video. And for today's video, I'm going to be talking about the Houston Texans. And we'll be explaining if the Houston Texans can actually make a Super Bowl run. Now, the Houston Texans, it was a win-in game against Indianapolis. And as we all know, we did end up winning that game. Thanks to a little bit of magic from CJ Stroud. Thanks to an amazing game by Nico Collins. Kind of that game cementing himself, I think, as a wide receiver one. A lot of people, including myself, had doubts on if he could be a wide receiver one. Yes, we know he's good. Yes, we know he can have these games where he goes off. But sometimes he's just inconsistent. He doesn't always have that same production. But I think after this game, everybody's hurt. He's the only real weapon in terms of wide receivers for the team. No team is going to take John Mechie and Hutchinson seriously, sadly. So Nico Collins was our only true wideout threat for that Colts game. And what does he do? Ended up having 9 catches for I think 190-something yards and a first play touchdown. If that doesn't scream wide receiver one, I'm not sure what does. Of course, it doesn't hurt to get another wide receiver talent at some point in the offseason, but that's not the point of the video. The point of the video is, can the Houston Texans make a run at the Super Bowl this playoffs? And personally, I do think we can. It starts with beating the Browns first off at home. Let's not get too carried away. I'm kind of confident for this game. Maybe it's just my fandom. Maybe it's just my love for the team, my love for CJ Stroud, my excitement for the team. Maybe it's just that coming into play. But I definitely do think we should be the favorites. I think on most betting sites we're like 2.5 point underdogs or something like that. But personally, I think we should be the favorites. I mean, we have a lot of momentum on our side right now. We're getting a couple of guys back from injury. Today is currently Wednesday when I'm recording this video. We play on Saturday, so I think tomorrow is going to be the last day of practice. Or it should be the last day of practice tomorrow, since the game is like a day earlier than a Sunday game. So yeah, tomorrow should be the last day of practice. We should get that final injury report tomorrow, which is going to be Thursday. But yeah, we got a couple of guys back. Noah Brown was reportedly practicing. Of course, Blake Cashman's been healthy. And the last time we played the Browns, Blake Cashman was not healthy. Jonathan Grenard was also in practice today. Will Anderson was also in practice today. How much did they do? I'm not exactly sure, because some media people have said that they did practice. Some people said that they didn't. But I think the overall thing was that they were there. Most of the time when they were hurt, they weren't even really there participating. They weren't dressed out. But for example, Jonathan Grenard, he had his towel. That's kind of a weird thing to say, but like a weird thing to determine if he's gonna play or not. But he had his towel like on his tucked into his pants or whatever. So I mean, like, he was like practicing hands in the dirt and stuff, like real game scenarios. So I think that's a good sign for Saturday. Jonathan Grenard should be back. And remember, the last time we played the Browns, Jonathan Grenard got hurt against them. I think it was pretty early as well, so he didn't really get to play too much of a factor in that game. Will Anderson was also out. So we're gonna get our 2 best pass rushers back, arguably a top 5 pass rush duo in the NFL already. So we're gonna get those 2 back. Blake Cashman, of course, he was back against Indianapolis, but he wasn't able to play against Cleveland last time, so he's gonna be back as well. Robert Woods should be back. I mean, he practiced. He was warming up last game. It was just to see if he was ready to go, and turns out he wasn't. It looks like he should be back. I mean, if he doesn't play, it's probably because something happens to him again. He injures himself tomorrow in practice or something, but he should be back. Very excited for that, because we definitely do need another wide receiver in that room. We can't go out there with Hutch and Mechie. I mean, all respect to those two, but they just didn't do anything against Indianapolis. I think combined, they had 2 catches for like 9 yards. I think Hutch had a 6-yard catch, and then Mechie had a 5-yard catch. For the most part, they were just doing cardio. I guess they were just doing a bit of a distraction for Nico. I think the game plan the whole time was just feed Nico over and over and over. It looked like a lot of the game plan was just simply written for Nico. We saw those bubble screen, or at least that one bubble screen for Nico. A lot of those deep shots were for Nico. The play action game, it was targeted for Nico. So I guess that's why. I guess those 2 are just distractions, running like, I don't know what type of routes, but like, they were just there on the field. They were just there for distraction purposes. But Noah Brown, he hasn't practiced yet. I'm kind of worried about that. I feel like at this point, he's our best field stretcher. Yes, it's kind of crazy to say. You wouldn't think of Noah Brown to be this guy who can stretch the field horizontally, vertically. But I think at this point, he's our best field stretcher. He's our best Tank Credell replacement. He's our Will Fuller for right now. I mean, yes, he doesn't play like any of those two guys, but at this point, I think what he's shown this season, he can stretch the field. He's been good on those like play action crossing routes, those quick slants. He's proven to be open against sticky coverage, and I think that's a guy we need more than a Robert Woods. A Robert Woods, he's more of a just sit in his zone, get open quick for a quick little curl route type of guy. And I mean, of course, every team needs that guy. But in a game like this against Cleveland, I feel like we have Nico and we have Dalton to be that type of guy. Just get open quick in his zone, use your body, make a catch, first down. I think we need more of a guy who's going to get behind. I mean, Noah Brown's not the fastest guy, so I don't want to say get behind the defense, but a guy that's going to at least be able to scare the defense more than Robert Woods. Robert Woods, of course, he's a better overall wide receiver in his career. I'm not saying Noah Brown is better, but in a certain situation, I think Noah Brown is better for the team personally, and we definitely need to get him back for the game. But yeah, I'm talking way too much about this Cleveland game. The point of the video is, can we win a Super Bowl? Can we make a Super Bowl run? So say we do beat Cleveland, which I definitely do think we will, and we should on paper, and just on paper, we have the better quarterback. We have the better run game, I think, as of right now. I'm not scared of Jerome Ford too much. I think overall, Cleveland's defense is better, but we're playing with more momentum right now. Grant Delph is coming back from injury. A lot of their guys are coming back from injury as well, so it should be interesting. But if we do win, and I think if things play out how they should, like the Chiefs win, the Bills win, blah, 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 so on, I think we're going to be heading up to Baltimore, and that's where things definitely get scary. That's where I'm like, yeah, I don't want to play Baltimore at all. I would somehow much rather play the Steelers, assuming they win, or the Bills, or even the Chiefs. Baltimore, obviously, they're number one on my list of teams I do not want to play against. Baltimore, they're looking scary. They got Lamar. They got that run game. They got that scary defense. I just don't want anything to do with them. But I guess the first time we did play them earlier on in the season, the first game of the season, we didn't play too bad. I mean, considering everybody was new, rookie, everything, almost damn near veterans, new veterans everywhere. So I guess we held our own. We did okay. But at the same time, Baltimore also got better. So it's like on both sides. Both teams got better. Should be an interesting game if we were to face off against Baltimore. The game would be in Baltimore as well, so it will be very, very cold. I did take a peek at the forecast like 2 weeks in advance for what it's predicting to be in 2 weeks, and it says it should be a clear skies game. It's just gonna be really cold. I think it's gonna be like 30-some degrees, but clear skies, sunny skies, not too much wind, so it should be an okay weather game. Nothing, no rain, no snow, thankfully. But yeah, I think Baltimore, that'll be a very tough game. The game plan for that one, I'm not even sure what it would be. That defense is just too good. That offense is just too good. I think you have to go blow for blow with them. You have to score on every possession. You have to at least try to limit them to a couple field goals. You can't let them score too many touchdowns. Obviously, any team, you can't let any team. It's like the most obvious thing to say, but I feel like you just can't. You have to go blow for blow, and you have to limit how many times you score a touchdown. Bend, don't break. You can let them score field goals at the end of the day. If that's what it comes down to, that's what it comes down to. You're not going to stop the offense. You can slow them down, but you're simply not going to stop them. So if you can slow them down to field goals, I feel like that's a great thing to do. And we just have to capitalize. We just have to keep it blow for blow with them. Like, simple as that. We have to keep it buck for a buck. And if we do somehow manage to win that game, I don't want to say it would be completely out of reach to say we could win that game. CJ Stroud, I mean, he just has something about him. Stephen A. Smith said something like, oh, I'm not scared of CJ Stroud, blah, blah, blah. He has to go into Baltimore, blah, blah, blah. Lamar, something, rookie quarterback. They said something like that to CJ Stroud when he was on the Pat McAfee podcast, or not podcast, that Pat McAfee, what's it called? I guess show. On the college football championship thingy on the game earlier in that day, he was on the Pat McAfee show, and they told him to his face, this is what Stephen A. Smith said about y'all, you and the Houston Texans. He was like, okay, he said that? Bet, watch this, or something like that. It was like one of those replies that are like, okay, we'll see. And I mean, I don't know, I just wouldn't want to be playing against CJ Stroud in the playoffs, especially when he's when he has that momentum and he has that what's the word, I guess motivation on his side. I wouldn't want to be playing against a CJ Stroud like that. But yeah, if we beat the Baltimore Ravens, of course, we'd be into the AFC Championship game. And then from that point, I feel like we could beat anybody. The Chiefs, they don't scare me. They're not the same old Chiefs. They don't have the same wide receivers. Their defense, I mean, the defense is pretty solid, but our defense is pretty solid too. So, I mean, I still feel like that's anybody's game. I feel like we definitely could win that game. The Bills, the same thing. I think the two major things I'd be worried about is the weather and the lack of our offensive weapons. A lot of our guys are hurt. Dameon Pierce hasn't been too involved, and I think Dameon Pierce would have to get involved at some point. If it's a bad weather game, you're going to have to run the ball. You can't pass the ball too much. I mean, it's bad weather. You don't want to risk turnovers. Devin Singletary, he can't do it all alone. I mean, he's been doing a good job, but if it's a bad weather game, people are going to get tired faster. You need more bodies, and Dameon Pierce would have to get involved. And I think those are the two biggest things, the weather concern and then Dameon Pierce having to get involved. I really, really love Dameon Pierce. I don't think his career in Houston is over. I mean, just because of this year, he didn't play too much, or at least towards the second half of the year, he didn't play too much. I still think he can be a valuable running back for this team in the future. And it would have to be now. It would have to be in the playoffs. He's going to have to show something if it comes down to that, whether it's injury or the weather aspect. But yeah, I definitely do think Houston can make a Super Bowl run. It does start definitely with beating the Cleveland Browns, which I definitely do think we should and we will. I don't want to get ahead of myself. I don't want to jinx ourselves, but I don't know. It just feels like a game we're going to win. It's at home. All the momentum, all the energy, the crowd, the players, the shift. The energy is just all on our side right now. I don't think there's any way we lose this game. And then the next game would likely be Baltimore, I think, based on the seeding thing and who should win and who should lose. So I think the next game will be Baltimore. That game, as I said, is going to be blow for blow. Limit them to field goals. Try to make them score as many field goals as possible. Just stop them in that way. Go field goal for field goal. Go touchdown for touchdown. Just limit them. And then if we do manage to come out that game, which I think is like more of a scarier game for me. That's the scariest game I think I'd be scared of for any playoff team right now. But if we do manage to win that game, Buffalo or Kansas City, I'm not too scared of those two. Miami even. I mean, Miami scares me more than both of those teams, I think, because Miami, they have the Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle aspect, the deep ball, and our safeties, as we know, they're not the best. But KC and Buffalo, I'm not too worried about those two. I mean, I think we should beat them. But yeah, let me know what y'all guys think down below in the comments. Can we go on a Super Bowl run? Can CJ Stroud lead us on there? It's the first time in the playoffs since 2019, so I'm very excited. Hopefully our team can show out. But yeah, it's been Clutch Eating Entertainment, and hope you guys have a good day. Peace.